Did you know that 48% of Canadians live paycheck to paycheck? Furthermore, did you know that 26% of Canadians have no emergency savings at all? Whether rich, poor, or somewhere in between, managing money is a fact of life, and establishing a budget can give you peace of mind, security, and maybe even prevent a few gray hairs. Over the next 5 to 7 minutes, you'll hear 4 simple but life-changing rules from Stephen, who is giving his second speech with Toastmasters. Stephen's speech is entitled, spoiler, Who Needs a Budget? You Need a Budget, and is the first of 2 speeches for his Pathways Evaluation and Feedback project. The purpose of his speech today is to receive feedback from an evaluator that could be applied to a second speech that he'll give at a later date. So without further ado, having originally written a magnificent introduction, I think we have lots to look forward to from Stephen with Who Needs a Budget? You need a budget.
So during table topics, Jill spoke about living on the edge and invited us all to experience living on the edge. Well, I'm here today to invite you not to live on the financial edge. And I hope to be able to share some rules that can help you to avoid that financial edge. For me, 2015 was an extraordinary year, full of important life decisions and events. On January 1st, I started dating the woman who would ultimately become my wife. In April, I applied to become a professional engineer. In May, I agreed to purchase my first home. And in October, Candace and I were married, starting a wonderful journey together. Within a couple of months, we had joined our bank accounts. All that was mine was now hers, and all that was hers was now mine. And good thing too, because buying a house is expensive. With all these changes, the number of bills that I had went from 3 or 4 a month to over 10. And managing our money and expenses suddenly moved up the priority list. The problem was, I didn't really have a good method for budgeting. Though I had tracked my expenses for years, my past efforts at using a budget had largely failed. My experience was that it was relatively easy to set budgeting goals, but almost impossible to stick to it. Fortunately for Candace and I, we found a useful and effective tool called You Need a Budget, or YNAB for short. YNAB is a comprehensive web-based interface with a companion app for your mobile device. But YNAB is more than just an app. It is a method that includes 4 simple steps that I'll share with you today that can help you to take care of your financial well-being. Rule 1 is to give every dollar a job. In other words, do not let your money wander around aimlessly and without purpose. Each time you receive a paycheck, decide where each and every dollar is needed. Prioritize your money by assigning it to categories that reflect what is important to you. If you, like most people, need food and water, then I suspect that your water bill and your groceries category will take precedence over, let's say, buying a lottery ticket. Once your dollars are meaningfully employed, follow your plan. Rule 2 is to embrace your true expenses. How do you do this? You take those larger, infrequent expenses that might otherwise wreak havoc on your monthly budget, such as unexpected car repair or a root canal bill, Whitney, or even Christmas shopping, and break it into manageable monthly bills. For example, our gas bill is generally negligible during the summer, but was astronomical after what I like to call frigid February. Probably all remember that this year. To remove the shock that comes from a high gas bill, each month we put aside the average amount that we've paid for heat over the last 12 months. With the money already budgeted in advance, paying for that frigid February gas bill was actually rather boring. Sometimes life throws a figurative jab, hook, or uppercut at your carefully crafted budget. This is where many people get frustrated and give up budgeting, but not when you use YNAB. Rule 3 is to roll with the punches. The key to Rule 3 is to be flexible. When you overspend in one category, simply move surplus funds from another category to cover it. For example, let's say you had unexpected company resulting in you overspending for groceries. Dang, in-laws. Fortunately, chances are that you have enough money in your other categories to cover that overspending. Remember that you are in charge of your money, your budget isn't set in stone, and you can adjust your plan when circumstances change. Some things, like cheese and wine, so I'm told, get better with age. Money is no different. Rule 4 is to age your money. The aim is to eliminate the stress that comes from living paycheck to paycheck by only spending money that has been in your account for at least 30 days. In other words, use last month's pay to pay for this month's expenses. Getting to the point where last month's paychecks are just sitting around waiting to do their job doesn't necessarily happen overnight. However, if you are purposeful in spending so that you can consistently spend less than you earn, your money will eventually pile on more years than Methuselah. Okay, maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, but the age of your money will grow and your money-related stress will diminish. In summary, the 4 rules for budgeting with YNAB are to 1. Give every dollar a job. 2. Embrace your true expenses. 3. Roll with the punches. And 4. Age your money. Having a budget that works for you will help free you from the stress that comes from living on the financial edge, and will give you the freedom to focus more on your priorities, your goals, and your dreams for tomorrow. I'd like to conclude by leaving you with a humorous quote from Will Rogers. The quickest way to double your money is to fold it over and put it back in your pocket. Thank you.
Stephen, I love to listen to you speak. I think you have such a great presence that you're working on. And to see where you've come from when you first were here, where you were very stiff and very uncomfortable, I see huge growth. First off, I just wanted to say how amazing you actually sent me the evaluation in advance. He emailed it to me so I would be aware, as well as a copy of his introduction. I honestly have never had anybody send me their evaluation in advance, so that was quite a rock star move, and I tried to acknowledge that. You asked me to watch how you projected your voice. I think it improved from your first speech. I think you can continue to build. Get some air in your guts and pretend like you're yelling at us, but not. You'll need to practice that for your children and...
Well, that's what my wife told me as well. But I told her I don't yell, so I don't yell at her.
Pretend that we can drag you to that, because sometimes we can. Clarity. I love your words. I love the words you use to express yourself. And you bring great word pictures by the words that you use. Your vocal variety, it's fairly consistent. So I would work a bit more on some really exciting stuff and some more not so exciting. Just change it up a little bit. You use pauses well with your humor particularly, so I appreciate that. Eye contact, basically focused over there. You did not look over here at us much. The one or the 2 times I could comment on great eye contact is when you reference both Jill and Whitney's comments prior and brought them into your speech. You looked right at them and did that, and that was great. And I appreciated how you did think on your feet to bring in some comments, because obviously you wouldn't have had them in your speech, so that's great. I think you're doing excellent. There's so many places you can go with your abilities. I'm excited to see where you can improve. And obviously I've given you a lot more thoughts here, but great work. And thanks so much for sharing, Steve. And I needed to know how to budget.